Let's talk about isolation, being isolated, feeling really lonely, and probably really angry and sad. Now, I'm doing this because it's around Christmas season, and I know so many of you at the moment feel outcast, lonely. It can be a real rage inducing season as well because it's really unfair, and you feel or you see your kids suffering. And we need to talk about this probably at length. This is going to be a quick one from my laundry floor this morning. So, Abby, founder of End Abuse and Rise, where we positively impact millions of abuse survivors. That is our goal. That is our mission. And that is our fight. Okay, so it's just been Christmas time. And if you're anything like me, being a single parent is hard enough as it is. If you are an abuse survivor of any kind, it can be really quite horrific. Not knowing where to go, not having anywhere safe. Maybe you are on your own. Maybe you're a whistleblower in your family, like I am. So you're outcast because you are a whistleblower. And if you're like me, it can be rage inducing because you're like these people that talk a big talk and are meant to care and love me, and my children don't. And my children are now suffering and being isolated because they're choosing to protect your abuser or outcast you because you're the whistleblower. So they're putting their head in the sand and going, well, it's more comfortable for us to be with the sexual abuser or the DV or whatever that is. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking, it happens, and it's really, really regular for whistleblowers and abuse survivors to be the ones that are then outcast. That can be because of the smear campaign. That can be because it's just easier for people to put their head in the sand and keep doing things that they've always done. Right. So I know what it feels to just be rage induced because you see your children suffering, and for you choosing to do the right thing and other people not being able to do that. Or I know what it feels like to just feel really lonely and have nowhere to go, not only at Christmas time, but all the time. So I just want to talk to you about what we did this Christmas. This is conversations that we'll have at length later on, but this Christmas, I met a number of DV survivors, as you do when you're in that situation, that also ran. And her motto, she's hilarious every time we talk, is if you know, you know, because it's really hard to understand unless you know, unless you've been there. And it sounds like, doesn't it, when you're talking, it sounds like you're telling a movie script and you sit there and you question yourself. You go, does this person think that I'm lying? Because it actually sounds nuts. What do you mean? He grew in size? What do you mean your parents did? What? That's it. Okay. I get it. I get it. And I just wanted, in coming up in this new year, to say yes. All right. If you are feeling safe, say yes when people invite you to do things, because I know it's really easy to isolate yourself. I have been there through a season where I just don't trust anyone. Right. And this Christmas, this beautiful DV surviving family who are very different to us, mind you. And I love them so much, but we've connected through business and we've connected through being a survivor. She's a mum to teenage, right? She said, come to the city for Christmas and come and spend it with us. And we're also having a dinner with some young people who are at a rehab center that have nowhere to go. So come and spend it with us. Do you know what? We had the best time. And we had an orphan's Christmas, right? We had an orphan's Christmas for us that don't have a family or do have select. So the members of my family that support me, I freaking love you. You are angels and you are everything. And I'm not talking about you to my cousins and aunties and uncles that have literally gone against the grain to stand by us and do the right thing, even when it's hard. You are warriors and I love you. So I'm not talking about you, right? But those people that are warriors sometimes have their own things going on, everyone, and they can't just be propping us up all the time. We had the most beautiful Christmas. There were so many laughs because it was an orphan's Christmas. It was literally for people that didn't have family, didn't have anywhere to go. The young lads from the rehab center played with my boys. Like, they were so gifted at playing with my boys. And it felt, oh my gosh, we were under the Christmas tree, Christmas Eve, going through, and the family did this thing where, and I love her so much, and she's got teenage children. They're just gorgeous. I love them so much. Where someone hands out the Christmas present, and then everyone, like, there's like 13 people in the room, and everyone would, like, then the name was called out, just cheer like someone had won a rugby grand final. And then that person would open the present, and it didn't matter if it was like a $4 Pokemon ball or like a PS5, right? Right, my kids aren't getting a PS5 from me. But everyone would cheer like mad. That person was so happy. And then that person, and we're talking kids like my kids age 2 all the way up to right in their 50s. So, and then that person would have to get a present and they'd read the name out and everyone, and it was the greatest thing ever. It was literally just 2 hours of people hugging and clapping and cheering over Pokemon balls and gratitude journals. It was one of the best things I'd ever seen. And there was so much love in that room. And it was full of people that didn't necessarily have anywhere to go or that had been through some immense amount of suffering. So we could all, but there was no talk of that either. I'm sure if someone wanted to talk about that, we would have. And the amount of laughter and play, because we'd all been in places where we were so low that other people couldn't understand, that ability to laugh. And I know if you're like me, how many of you have gone probably through years where you just haven't had a belly laugh because you just, right, I went through that stage. I remember my first belly laugh. Right, I'm getting off topic now. That is my message at the moment. Say yes, even if it's bit by bit, because I know that being in social settings when you're feeling anxious or you're a survivor or you're through, in a season of isolation or whatever it is, can be exhausting. But please lift your head, even if it's once a month, to get out and do things. Your kids need to, this is so good for my kids to see that there were other people out there that loved them, because they know as well, they feel like, hey, we're not invited here. Why are we not invited here, but all the other cousins are, right? What did we do? Babies, you did nothing. But we've got family that are also not necessarily through blood that we can choose. And that was, oh, here comes a nude one. Hang on.